Well, we were established to investigate claims of actual innocence on behalf of people incarcerated in North Carolina who had been convicted of very serious crimes. And we get requests, we screen them, we identify cases where we believe we might be able to investigate them adequately enough, and then we undertake the investigation. It's evolved into a litigation clinic also, and so we're litigating in state court, federal court, and all levels of both courts. I started out when the clinic was established as a co-director with the professor who founded it with me, Teresa Newman. In addition, I'm the John S. Bradway Professor of the Practice of Law, and I teach criminal law in addition to the directing the clinic.
In the clinic, I supervise students working on cases where people are asserting their innocence for crimes for which they were convicted here in North Carolina and are serving prison sentences. I also do work surrounding clemency and long-term incarceration and obtaining relief for people who have been excessively sentenced.
Well, we're one of the clinics that will allow a student to start in the second year of law school.
Students often get their start working with us as part of the Innocence Project, which is a student-run organization that screens cases that ultimately those with merit come into the clinical program.
And usually after the student works in the project their first year in law school, they will then take the clinic in their second and third year. We also have an advanced clinic for students who have taken one semester in the clinic, and for the advanced clinic, they work on the case to which they were assigned in the clinic.
Students have a variety of experiences in the clinic. Some of our cases are at early stage investigation. So students are out in the community where these crimes occurred and where our person is alleged to have committed that crime, knocking on doors, speaking with people, trying to ascertain what it is that actually happened and whether or not the individual is in fact innocent. At some point in time after that investigation takes place, students then begin the preparation to bring the case back to the state trial court, where they're preparing a post-conviction motion seeking to have the conviction vacated. Depending on how the state trial court proceedings go, there may be an evidentiary hearing, which is similar to a trial that students have an opportunity to participate in. And going from there, we then move into the appellate courts and even to federal court. If cases get to that level, students will be engaged in research, writing, maybe preparing a brief or working with attorneys that will later be arguing in those courts. So there's opportunities throughout the clinic to be involved in all stages of litigation.
In addition, one of the things that's been happening in recent years is that we've been doing more and more litigation, and particularly in state court, we've started to try to get discovery, which means that taking depositions, being able to go back and interview under oath some of the investigators who worked on the case, and we're allowing students to help to write the motions, ask them to take depositions, and in some cases they take the depositions themselves.
Students will learn a variety of legal skills in the clinic. First and foremost, students will learn interviewing skills because our cases, especially those in early stage investigation, require students to go out, meet with people, interview those people, and obtain as much information as possible through those interviews, which is a skill. Not everyone can just knock on a door and get somebody to begin speaking with them. So our students will learn interviewing skills. They'll learn how to meticulously go through a record in a case. Oftentimes they'll have the opportunity to sit down with their client and meet with somebody who is incarcerated and hear from them and learn their story and ultimately be able to take that story and put it into a narrative in their motions practice or in briefs that they're writing on behalf of that client in a clinic case, which again leads to another skill, the opportunity to work on their legal writing, to work on how to persuasively present a case to a court. So there's a variety of opportunities for students to hone the skills that they'll need for a career in litigation.
A few years ago, I got an email from one of our graduates to tell me how important it had been, the work that he had done in the clinic, working with facts, working with the record, understanding how to do that, interviewing witnesses, turning that into facts that would then support the motions that we filed to get our clients out of prison and get their conviction overturned. And I think that whatever area of law a student goes into after law school, the skills from the clinic will be beneficial.
The person that comes to mind is actually back here with us, clinical fellow Evan Glassner, who's been working with us for about a year now at the Wrongful Convictions Clinic here at Duke, was a student back in 2016 when Howard Dudley was exonerated after more than 24 years of wrongful incarceration. Evan and his partner, Grady Campion, prepared witnesses for an evidentiary hearing that we had in Kingston, North Carolina. At the end of that evidentiary hearing, the judge made a ruling from the bench, and in that ruling, he found on every claim in our favor. We knew that day that Mr. Dudley was going home, and Evan and his partner Grady were right there sitting behind counsel table, and there's actually a video clip, and it's a pretty amazing moment. Grady, his partner, reaches forward and puts his hand on Mr. Dudley's shoulder as the judge is making the announcement that would ultimately lead to Mr. Dudley's release. And Howard's crying, he gets up, he starts hugging people. They were in the courtroom for this amazing moment. And then later on in that afternoon, once Mr. Dudley was released, they helped us walk him out of jail. And there's a bunch of pictures of them walking side by side with me and Howard. So as he's walking away from the county jail, those two students are by his side for his first moments of freedom after 24 years.
They can either continue to work on their case until their client is exonerated, or they can, wherever they end up practicing law, they can do pro bono work in their law firms, if that's where they go, and help in states outside of North Carolina. We tell our students when they sign up for the clinic that it's a lifetime appointment. And so, the expectation on their part and on our part is that they will always be available to help us if needed to try to win an exoneration. It's a marathon and not a sprint, and so the expectation is that it's going to be several classes of students in the end who obtain an exoneration.